It's back, baby! Rokket Dragonlink is easily one of my favorite decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Simply, it just doesn't die. And because of the new cards from Darkwing Blast, the Bystial monsters, Rokket Dragonlink just got so much stronger. So in this particular video, I am going to be giving you an updated version of my Rokket Dragonlink deck profile. This is easily one of the better decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And don't worry, my Rokket Dragonlink top dogs, for everybody that has joined my Patreon, I will be giving you updates on this deck throughout the format, just as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. With all that being said, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's go ahead and show you my Rokket Dragonlink build that I'm playing for Darkwing Blast. For the people that have been waiting for the new old school mats, I just want to say we just got the shipment in and they're even better than what you've seen on Duel Challenge. I appreciate you guys' patience and we'll be shipping out very soon. Go ahead and check out TheCaliEffect.com to pick up your mats today. So for this deck profile, I decided to split it up into different categories to help me explain everything a little bit better. For the Chaos Monsters, 3 copies of Starlight Seyfried. In my opinion, this is hands down the best card in the deck. It does so much, allowing you to get into almost every aspect of your deck. You want your Chaos cards? Fine. You want your Bystial monsters? Fine. This card even recurs monsters from your graveyard to your hand, which I think is the best thing about it. These 2 cards have taken a little bit of a backseat, but there is 1 copy of Black and White Dragon each. The normal play line would be normal summon Seyfried, then use this effect to search your Black Dragon, but I do not want to banish Starlight Seyfried if I have an option over it. I actually want to use Starlight Seyfried to send any of my other dragons from the hand to the graveyard, which will actually get me light and dark monsters to be able to summon my Bystials or my Black and White dragons. Then there's the Blowout Yu-Gi-Oh card in Chaos Dragon Levianeer. This card doesn't necessarily facilitate any of the combos, but boy, when you summon this card, you are going to feel like you're on top of the world because it just does so much for you depending on the situation. And then to help search my Chaos cards, it's 3 copies of Chaos Space. I wouldn't necessarily say that you need this card, so if you guys are on a budget, hypothetically, your combos don't need this card, but the deck flows so much better with this card, so if you guys can get your hands on it, I strongly advise that you do. There really isn't even a genuine buzzer substitute for cards like Chaos Space because there isn't a single card that doesn't do anything just like it. I strongly advise that if you are a Dragonlink player that you get your hands on a playset of these. But that's it for my Chaos Monsters. Going on to the Rockets. For the Rokket Monsters, we play 2 copies of Rokket Tracer, 1 copy of Rokket Recharger, and 1 copy of Rokket Synchron. This is fairly standard. Some players have been dropping Rokket Synchron because of no Chaotic Ruler, but this card can pretty much summon any monster from your graveyard to your side of the field. Now, you can get Bystial monster effects, or you can summon Absolouter Dragon, which I just so happen to play 2 copies of. I feel like Absolouter Dragon is the bee's knees in this deck. If you are using Quick Launch to be able to special summon one of your Rokket monsters and you have Absolouter, well, congratulations. You have 2 dragon monsters that you can summon to your side of the field without committing your normal summon. If you draw this card in your hand with Starlight Seyfried, that's also amazing. That's full combo. I've showed you in the combo video. By the way, go ahead and check out that combo video because it has everything you need. Lastly is the 1 copy of Boot Sector Launch. I remember when this deck was so dependent on this card. There are some combos where you don't even use Boot Sector Launch, but it's a great card to be able to follow up on the next turn, special summoning Rokket monsters from your graveyard to your side of the field at will. This card is phenomenal. Now, if I could play more Rokket monsters, I would strongly consider playing another Rokket Recharger. The only reason why I haven't is because we don't have multiple copies of Striker Dragon, but if that changes, then there's actually some really cool combos that this deck can do. Moving on to the Bystial monsters, the big head honcho, the daddy Dama in charge is the Bystial Lubellion. Well, a couple of attributes I want to talk about is that it is a level 8 light monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. It cannot be normal summoned or set. That means that this card can be searched through Chaos Space, and if you have extra copies in your hand, it can search Chaos Dragon Levianeer by discarding the Bystial Lubellion. There's also the chance that you'll be able to discard it from your hand to be able to search a Bystial monster, which is that's kind of the purpose of this card. This card is completely phenomenal because it does allow you to set up disruptions that aren't weak to cards like Lava Golem, Dark Ruler No More, and Fallen Albaz. They're understandable, guys. If you can't afford this many copies of Bystial Lubellion, I want to say you could probably get away with 1 or 2 copies until you can get onto your Bystial Lubellions. And unfortunately, there really isn't a budget substitute. Though you could drop all 3, you just would have a less consistent deck. For the other Bystial monsters, 3 copies of Bystial Magnemite, 2 copies of Druid Swarm, and 1 copy of Serenir. The reason why the Bystial monsters work so good inside of this Rokket Dragonlink deck over some of the other decks is because not only could these cards be potential hand traps, being able to banish your opponent's light and dark monsters before they could potentially use them, an added bonus is that these cards are also dragon monsters and extenders. At its core, this dragon deck is built on being able to summon as many dragons to your side of the field as possible. Bystial Magnemite gets you a free dragon. Druid Swarm is amazing when going second because it puts your opponent on, yo, you gotta stop this card. And Serenir, it can send Lubellion from the deck to the graveyard. Lastly, for our complimentary branded cards that Lubellion can set to our side of the field, 1 copy of Branded Regained and 1 copy of Branded Beast. Branded Regained is fairly good. Banishing cards like Striker Dragon from our graveyard allows us to put it right back into our deck and draw a card. I love that this card basically allows us to recycle our huge dragons as well as get his resources, and Branded Beast is the head honcho card. It is the reason why I think that this deck is so good. We have access to a card that can continuously destroy cards on our opponent's side of the field, and all we have to do is tribute a dragon. What's so underrated about Branded Beast is that you can tribute dragon monsters, including monsters like Heretic Seal, to be able to get its effects and still get your tributed dragon monsters effects. But that's it for the Bystials. The extender card's Noctivision Dragon is completely insane. This card is searchable through Starlight Seyfert. All you gotta do is discard one of your Absa Router dragons from your deck to your hand, which I thought was pretty cool as it does facilitate their full combo. I'm also a very, very greedy player, so being able to draw a card was always it was pretty good, and it can protect your trap cards like Infinite Impermanence. Lastly is one of the most important cards of the deck, Dragon's Ravine. Strongly considered about playing multiple copies of this card, just how powerful it is, but 1 is enough since it's searchable. And then finishing up with the hand traps, I'm still very undecided about which ones should I play. These kind of go against the rules of my hand trap tier list I'll have later on this week, but 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. The good thing about this deck is that it's still true to Dragonlink. If you're playing against a deck that is light or dark reliant, instead of playing 9, you play 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 hand traps inside of your deck. And if you're playing against a deck that doesn't, well, these cards are just great extenders, and these cards allow you to help stop your opponent's board. The main board does consist of 42 cards. You can drop, I guess, 2 Bystial Lubellion if you can't afford it, or maybe 2 Chaos Space, but everything else in the deck is relatively cheap. Well, I guess except for Magnemite, this card's starting to go up. But moving on into the extra deck, there's 1 copy of Heretic Seal or Heretic Dragon King of Atum. This is a boomer LP because any 2 Bystial monsters that are level 6 get you any dragon from your deck. 1 copy of Access Code Talker, 1 Boral Lind, 1 Triple Burst, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Quad Burl, 1 copy of Dilindris. If I were playing 2 copies of Heretic Seal, I would strongly consider playing Red Eyes Darkness Metal, but through my testing, not only did Black Metal clog me up because I wanted to normal summon Seyfert or kind of bust. Also, I didn't necessarily need it when my opponent did Nibiru me under Seal because I could just summon a dragon and continue to keep playing. So I didn't think it was a need for 2, but if you were to play 2, I really wouldn't hold you. 1 copy of Romulus, 1 copy of the Dark Charmer, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Pisty, 1 Striker, 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, and my flex spot is actually Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. This card comes up so much when it comes to time situations, but also it's really good at being able to clear boards and helps me justify playing another copy or that copy of Rokket Synchron to be able to special summon level 7s and synchro into Scarlight if Borreload Savage isn't available. That's pretty much it for the main board and the extra deck. I'm going to show you guys 1 test hand. Again, if you want to see the combo tutorials, then go ahead and check out the video that I put on earlier this week. Let's get on to it. Now, as I'm thoroughly shuffling this deck, hopefully I don't get a bad hand. I want to talk to you guys about this mat. Oh my God. I really do appreciate you guys for your patience as the new old school mats are finally out. I have them on hand and boy, these are amazing. So let's go ahead and jump on in, show you guys a test hand. Hopefully we get something really good. We're gonna get an Effect Veiler, a Black Dragon Callop Serpent, a Bystial Magnemite, a Bystial Lubellion, and an Infinite Impermanence. This may not seem like a great hand, but it's actually a very, very playable hand. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with activating Bystial Lubellion, discarding it from my hand to be able to get a Bystial Drew. No, we're gonna get Serenir from our decks to our hand, and then we'll banish the Bystial Lubellion, unfortunately, to be able to summon the Black Dragon Calypserfit. If I had Effect Veilered my opponent in the previous turn, which is why I think cards like Effect Veiler are pretty good, I wouldn't have to banish my Bystial Lubellion. So there we have it, but here we are. We'll go ahead and link off the Black Dragon into a Striker Dragon, using Striker Dragon as Chain Link 2 and Black Dragon Calypserfit as Chain Link 1. Yeah, I think we can do it that way just to protect our Black Dragon. We will go ahead and add the White Dragon for the Black Dragon's effect and the Boot Sector Launch as Chain Link 2. We can then go ahead and banish the Black Dragon to be able to summon the White Dragon, and then we will link off both the White Dragon and the Striker Dragon into our Dragoonity Knight Romulus. Now, the effect of Dragoonity Knight Romulus will obviously trigger. We will use that effect to be able to add a Dragon's Ravine from our decks to our hand. And regardless, I think being able to Ravine the Effect Veiler is still one of a great redeeming quality for the card, even when going second. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that Dragon's Ravine, pitching the Effect Veiler to the graveyard. And with that, we'll actually send an Absorautor Dragon from the deck to the graveyard, which will activate its effect to be able to add the Rokket Tracer. Now I can pretty much go around and do my normal combos. I will special summon my Bystial Serenir by banishing the Effect Veiler, and then I will special summon the Bystial Magnamut by banishing the Absorautor Dragon, triggering its effect to add a Dragon monster on end phase. From here, we can go ahead and Exceed summon with both of our Bystial monsters into Heretic Dragon King Atum, detaching the Serenir to be able to special summon any Dragon monster from our decks to the side of the field. Now here's where we could play a card like Red Eye's Black Metal Dragon, but I'm gonna go ahead and special summon the Bystial Lubellion, and then use Lubellion's effect to be able to place into our Spell and Trap card zone Branded Beast. I mean, we pretty much have full combo from here, as you guys have seen in the combo videos, just to show you how easy it is to make it. Sometimes you don't get the hand, but other times you make it anyways. I have not normal summoned, so I will normal summon my Rokket Tracer. And if we want to get aggressive, we would go into our Pisky play, but I think it might be a little better to be conservative here. The reason why is because players have mentioned that Fallen Albaz is a very powerful card and people should watch out for it. I'm going to show you how to play around Fallen Albaz in this particular situation. From here, oh, I forgot to use Bystial Serenir's effect. Almost forgot, guys. Make sure you use that effect to send the Branded Regained from your deck to the graveyard. And now I'm going to show you how to play around that particular situation. I'm going to link off my Heretic Atum and my Romulus. We can link off into Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. We will then normal summon Rokket Tracer to our side of the field, and we have a couple of options. We can use Rokket Tracer to destroy our Dragon's Ravine, which isn't a terrible play, but if we're going super conservative against the Albaz deck, then what we would do is we would link off both the Bystial Lubellion and the Rokket Tracer into an IP Masquerena. We then go ahead and set the Infinite Impermanence face down, and then we'll resolve the effect of our Bystial Magma Hunt. We will get a Druid's Worm right here, and then the effect of our Branded Beast will allow us to be able to get Branded Regain. So there's a couple of things you can take from this particular board. The first thing I want to point out is that Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres can actually bounce the Dragon's Ravine to tribute itself off, which would trigger its effect to be able to summon any Bystial monster or any Dragon monster to your side of the field, which could be another Bystial Magnum Hut. Now, the reason why you can put yourself in this particular situation is because now not only will you get a searchable Bystial Magnum Hunt, you can still link off with the IP Masquerena and the Bystial into a monster like Nightmare Unicorn for disruption, but if they do decide, or if you do pass priority and they decide to leak off your Bystial Magnum Hunt, you're not losing anything. You also get a card like Dragon Ravine back into your hand. I literally just showed you how powerful this card is, especially with multiple copies of Absorautor Dragon and Bystial Lubellion in our deck. Also, keep in mind, Bystial Druid's Worm can still summon itself to the side of the field by banishing a card in our graveyard. I think I would actually banish the Heretic Seal so we can shuffle it back or put it to our deck and then draw a card, which would be another Rokket, as well as still have the ability to Branded Beast to be able to send the Druid's Worm to be able to get rid of 2 cards. Some players have been saying that this deck may struggle struggle against Branded, but as you guys can see, I just showed you a route where you can avoid cards like Fallen Albaz and still make a really good disruption board without committing a lot of dragon monsters. And that's what we have for the Rokket Dragonlink deck profile. It was really exciting to be able to show you guys this one. I really hope you enjoyed. Of course, be sure to check out that Rokket Dragonlink video detailing how powerful this deck is, as I'll catch you on the next one.